Today, we will be discussing DNA fingerprinting through the use of gel electrophoresis. In a town called Scranton, Pennsylvania, lived a happy family that ran a successful paper company called Dunder Mifflin. One day, the police got a call from an employee of the company, Jim, and he had told them that when he went to pick up his friend Pam for work in the morning, it seemed like she had suddenly disappeared in the middle of the night and could not find her. Pam was reported missing, and the police started to collect their suspects, and this is who they thought could have possibly kidnapped Pam. The suspects were Michael, her father who owned and ran the paper company but recently announced he was retiring and putting Pam in charge, her mom Jan, her best friend Jim, her brother Dwight who had recently been passed over to take over the company, Creed who was a longtime friend of Michael, and a family friend Kevin who was also the accountant for the company. When surveying the crime scene, the police found small droplets of blood. The police ran the DNA and compared it to the DNA that they had collected from all the suspects. The police compared the DNA using gel electrophoresis, which runs negatively charged DNA through a positively charged gel plate. The negatively charged DNA goes towards the positively charged end of the plate, which allows us to see the different bands of DNA. Smaller pieces of DNA can travel farther than larger pieces, which shows us the unique differences in each person's DNA. When the police tested all the suspects' DNA, they compared it to the DNA found at the crime scene to see if any of their suspects were a match. At Locus 1, the experts saw that the DNA bands of the DNA found at the crime scene matched the DNA bands with Pam's brother, Dwight, and Kevin, the accountant. The other suspects can be ruled out because in order to truly be a suspect, both bands of DNA would have to match the DNA of the unknown suspect. Even if they shared one band with the unknown suspect's DNA, they could still not be considered a true suspect as their DNA does not completely match. After meeting with Dwight, the police did not believe that he was the one that kidnapped Pam, but they knew they had to test another loci in order to be sure who committed the crime and to find out where Pam was. Focus 2, the DNA from the crime scene again matched Dwight and also Jim. Again, the other suspects can be excluded because their bands of DNA do not match the unknown suspect's DNA bands. From this evidence, the police could now say with certainty that it was Dwight who had kidnapped Pam. They know this because Dwight's DNA matched the suspect's DNA, had both DNA markers at both loci. If he'd only matched the DNA markers at one loci, he would not be able to be identified as a suspect. So, Dwight's DNA profile is consistent with the DNA left at the crime scene. Jim and Kevin can be excluded as a suspect because their DNA markers only match the suspect at one loci and not both. Experts saw something interesting when analyzing the DNA. They saw that Pam shared one band of DNA with her father Michael and one band with her mother Jan. This is to be expected, as children share nucleotide repeats in their DNA with their parents, and it can be seen as a child having one band shared with the mother and one band shared with the father. But the police saw that Dwight only shared a DNA band at both locuses with his mother, Jan, and did not share any with Michael. After further investigation, they saw that Dwight also shared bands of DNA at both locuses with Creed, a close family friend of his father that he had known all of his life. Interviewing Jan, she confessed to having a brief affair with Creed just prior to marrying Michael, and that Dwight's real father was Creed. Dwight was overcome with emotion when finding this out and revealed the location of Pam to the police. He confessed that he had kidnapped Pam and taken her to a quiet town in New Jersey in efforts to try and have his father rethinking handing the company over to him instead of Pam. Dwight was placed in jail without getting to know his real father, and the paper company carried on and continued to thrive.